And I'm going to go with the basics here. All right, It's the Invincible Iron Man, and it's Riri. It's Riri, right? That's how we're pronouncing this?
Maybe Riri, because, like, Riri kind of...
I know. I don't know. I said Riri, but I'm not sure.
I'm going with Riri.
We used to say that in the 90s, and it wasn't complimentary.
Oh, yeah, that's right. God. But Riri sounds...
Let me into the bathroom. I have to Riri.
That's even worse.
Greg made it racist. Grown-up, human, comic, people. Grown-up, human, comic, people.
Okay, let's go to some of the comics. Kat, I think... Did you finish all 3 of the books?
I got through most of them.
Okay,
I didn't finish Iron Man.
You've done more than any other guest so far.
Oh, awesome.
I think the other guests, got through 1. Maybe part of 1. So anyway, so the first one, I got this one, is called Motro. It is Ulysses Fariñas, Eric Freitas, and Ryan Hill. Mr. Fariñas, I believe, is the...
He's the writer, right?
Oh, no, he and Eric Freitas are the writers. So to briefly sum this comic book up, I don't really know how to start.
There's not a good way to sum it.
You can't
So
briefly.
I'm going to read this thing from the back. I don't know if you guys read the testimony on the back, but in the back, I'm going to skip through a bunch of it. The sales manager at Oni Press, which is who publishes this, has a quote from Ulysses Fariñas, and he says, "Motro is sort of this meditation on what it's like to become a man, not in the get tough false machismo that most people think of first, but the way men have to learn to be more and more disconnected, unemotional, and violent to be considered masculine. I think a lot about how we constantly read stories about men punching other men and monsters and creatures for a lifetime, but never really think of the emotional toll that has on a person. Violence isn't easy, violence isn't forgettable, and when we are violent, it's easy to depict a man covered in scars as a shorthand for tough dude, but that's simplistic. I'd rather think of a Conan the Barbarian type not as an odyssey of perpetuating violence, but as a victim of violence," which is the basis for this book, which is really cool. And I read this again after I read that, and it kind of takes on a new life after you read something like that.
What you just read is a lot better than what's written on the front, which is from Andrew McLean from Headlooper. Says bonkers in the best way, like King Conan's fever dream, except King Conan is also Mad Max. But
that's not inaccurate, though.
It's not inaccurate. No, I think that there probably would have been, like what you said, would have taken up more real estate on the front cover.
Yeah, and also though both of those statements I think are accurate. That's one that like is going to draw people in versus like this is a meditation on masculinity and how that affects people who have done violence. like that, when you read that in the back, you're like, oh wow, yeah, this is really good. When you read the front part, we're like, this sounds fucking awesome. I'm reading that.
Yeah.
Just when you're reading any comic, I mean, especially in the first, when there are no letters, the first, comic or the first issue, always read the back.
Yeah.
Because we've learned so much, about like either their inspiration or, what was that lady who's in Hollywood and wrote that one,
Glitter Bomb.
Yeah. I mean, that made just reading it again in context of what these people intended is a completely different journey from reading it the first time. So definitely always read the back.
Yeah.
And the letters.
So, this comic, to briefly sum it up, starts off with what says, it makes it clear to be a dream. There's a man lying with something sticking out of his chest. He's clearly like dying in a pool of blood. And there are a few other people in the background who are being kind of sucked up into the air, looks like. We're not sure. There's a beam of light. They're sucked in the air. We're not sure how or why. You don't see where they're going. And then you see a character. There's a trail of blood, and you see another character kind of kneeling, and the man who is dying says, "Save them." And then the second character who is after the trail of blood, it shows that person waking up, and They're being woken up by a tiny little miniature motorcycle who speaks in little word bubbles that only have pictures.
His name is Wheelie Beast.
Yeah, his name is Wheelie Beast. Did they say what the main character's name is?
No,
I
not
didn't
that.
think so.
Not in this issue.
Okay, I didn't think so.
I'm just going to interrupt for a second. I restarted this comic like 5 times because I wanted to make sure that the motorcycle was actually speaking.
Yes.
It's just, they don't really, they're just like, hey, what's up, talking motorcycle? This is it. This is the comic you're
Well,
reading.
they show other inanimate objects and specifically motorized vehicles speaking
Yeah.
like Wheelie Beast does.
Yes, they
in
do.
Pictures. Yeah.
It's established throughout the comic, but at first you're just like,
Yeah.
like
you're
the
not sure
tank.
what's-
The tank talks.
Tanker
Yeah.
beasts.
Tank.
Yes.
Like when he's hungry, you see like a little cheeseburger in his word bubble.
Yeah.
There's like a clown and
Like it's an exclamation point to some kind of like hey, whatever. So anyway, this character kind of wanders towards what looks like a town, and there are these bandits kind of robbing this town, and he keeps repeating like "save them," like "I'm going to save them," "I will save them," and he goes in and he tells these guys to stop. And they're like, "Oh, fuck you! Who's this?" And they start laughing at him. And he punches one of their two. How many? Oh, those are birds. He punches this one guy just away.
Yeah.
like one Superman or
Like
the Hulk
flies
punches
away,
something, and this
yeah.
guy just flies away. So they then somehow beat his ass. I'm not sure how. He does break one of their arms, but then
She shoots him with the tank. The tank
yeah, and then
shoots
somebody
him.
else shoots that character with a tank, and the main character flies away, but is fine. Looks like, and then he figures out that because his little motorcycle Wheelie Beast eats this root.
pepper roots.
Pepper root.
Yeah.
Apparently gives him some kind of horrible flaming digestion.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's reacting with the gasoline inside the motorcycle. Anyway, it's the idea to feed these
Really?
things.
Wait. Did you just try to sum up the science of that?
I just assumed that the
Assume
peppers
this
were
fictional fucking whatever potato. It looked like a little potato.
Well, I mean, it's
that
a
he ate.
combustion end, like it's a
Yeah,
combustion vehicle. I
No,
figure that's-
I think they burn because they need calories to keep going. So it can't. They probably don't have gas because they're eating. You know,
Yeah, that's how
And,
little motors-
gas takes the place of calories for a non. Yeah, totally.
no, the
Our engine runs on
motorcycle-
cars. Cars' engines run on gas.
the
We're all on
motorcycle.
board,
No, the
Jared.
motorcycle eats one of the eats some of the
Eats one of the potatoes.
potato things.
Yeah.
And then it gets this explosive, whatever.
Yeah, I don't think he has gas.
You don't think it has any
Gasoline.
gasoline?
No, I think he eats food.
I
You
disagree.
assumed it mixed with the gasoline.
I disagree.
I just think that's
It's just a
awesome.
motorcycle, though. Like, they didn't show a motorcycle with teeth.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they
It's
did.
real
They
life
did.
teeth right
He
there.
does
Yeah,
eat
yeah.
it. Yeah, you don't see his mouth until he
Yes,
sees it.
yeah.
And tanker beasts eat through their snout like a
Like an elephant.
Well, you know.
Anyway, so he gets this idea to feed these pepper things to the tank beasts, and they all explode. And he goes in there and like punches everybody, and it doesn't really. I don't know. It ends with him saying, "I miss you, Papa," after basically everyone's dead.
But he's saying, "I miss you, Papa," as he's laying over this man who was about to kill him.
Right.
The guy
Yeah.
who was in charge of all the tanker beasts. So the tanker beasts were part of this gang
Yeah.
that came into the town, murdered everybody. This main character was about to murder this boy and was telling him, "Your papa is, whatever, a piece of shit. He didn't love you. You don't fucking know anything." And then he kills this guy. This guy.
No, he has a heart attack.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
You see
the
the
guy,
heart going.
The guy has a heart attack, and he dies like in the snow as he's trying to strangle this kid to death. And then the kid goes outside and like drapes himself across this like newly deceased corpse.
Yeah.
Recently deceased corpse that was just trying to kill him like 10 seconds prior, and is like, "I miss you, Papa."
Yeah.
And so it's like, what is this
But-
like fucking weird dynamic?
But
What's
I think,
going on?
well, that kind of makes sense because, I mean, if you look, if that's his father dying in a pool of blood, you get a similar thing. This guy, who's laying there almost similar to the way his dad did. And I think he sees that in his.
There's a couple different little images that are the same. Like at the beginning, the people being sucked away into the light is the same as some other people that were being killed, like in the middle of the. So like he's equating those two things in his mind.
Fuck. That's really interesting that, Becky, you pointed that out, because maybe what the kid is seeing is like the humanity in everything, you know? And I just recently listened to this Ram Dass speech on a different podcast. But in that, he said, you know, do what you will. Or he referenced Thich Nhat Hanh, who's another Buddhist teacher, who says, you know, do what you will with people, but don't close your heart, right? So it's like sometimes you'll have to, you know, imprison somebody to keep them from fucking killing people, but don't imprison them like, like I'm punishing you, you motherfucker, now you're in prison and this is what you get. It's like, I'm imprisoning you for the safety of like yourself and everyone else. Like I haven't stopped. Like I still see your humanity, you know? And like somebody who's trying to kill you, maybe you have to kill them, but it's not killing them because you hate like them and you're punishing them and death is their punishment for what they did. It's like, I need to continue to live. And so I'm sorry, but and still being able to see the humanity in them. I mean, I think that's like the fucking highest level is to be able to do whatever you need to do and whatever is appropriate, but without like not having that sense of like punishment or anger or hate.
Right, and it's not a dead feeling either. It's not like Negan, what we were talking about the other day. Like he doesn't feel anything. It's like you feel for that person still, regardless of what you feel like they forced you to do.
It's like I'm sorry that I have to do this. I'm sorry that I have to do this to you.
Right, like I wouldn't want someone to do this to me, and I'm not doing this to you because I want to or because I like it.
Right. It's like the opposite of not feeling anything. It's like feeling everything.
Right.
And but having your like the guiding emotion being or the guiding feeling being like this love or acknowledgement of their humanity.
Right.
Huh, maybe that's what it is, Becky. And like after reading the back, I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, so
nice job pointing that out.
Sure. You know, I will say something that this is the first book that I've completely changed my mind about whether or not I'm going to read it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Seriously. I had my mind set. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do. But now that we've talked about it more, I feel kind of differently. So.
Yeah. I felt, I mean, the same thing. I think this is not the first book you've changed your mind about.
Don't you fucking start.
Fuck
that. That's not
no,
that's actually not what I meant. I meant
Right.
from before we've talked about it to after we've talked about it. I changed my mind after the second book with that.
Oh, okay.
So like this is like I had my mind coming in here to kind of generally disliking, especially the art. But after talking about it and reading it, I will say right now, I am interested to reading more just because I want to see where it goes, and I always say that. But I see a little bit more depth into it now that we've talked about it.
Right.
So this is the first time I've changed my mind during the course of...
That's happened to me before when we were talking about stuff, and that's why I enjoy talking.
Yeah, ditto.
Because sometimes I'm like, I didn't like that, and then we talk about it, I'm like, you know what? I did like that, actually.
Yeah.
So it's funny that sorry, but I'm going to say the name Grizzly Shark. Art wise, it looks like at a glance it does look more like a silly sort of throw caution to the wind, like this will look disgusting and it's sort of rudimentary. A lot of like even the lettering also.
It's like real hand done.
It's very much hand done. Yeah, it's not, but it almost looks like nothing's capitalized. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like in the sentences, it's not quite that bad, but the borders and everything is so it's deceptive though, because there is that depth that Daniel was talking about, and also that's just like the artwork I was comparing to, sort of like the Grizzly Shark aesthetic. Not that it looks exactly similar, but I the vibe that I get from it though, as far as this kid who's just doing his deeds, I actually think it's kind of like. It's like Huck, but taking more chances into the bizarre,
The abstract, the bizarre,
yeah.
I can see that.
Because you're not quite sure what's going on with Huck. It's a little bit more obvious. With this one, you're not quite sure what his deal with his father is, like why he's seeing his father in this antagonist that he just killed or whatever. You're not. I don't know what
superpowers.
Yeah, the powers. I'm not sure what's going on with the talking motorcycle. I mean, there's a little bit left to figure out. But I dug it. I like it a lot.
So, I hope it's a limited run.
It's 5. He already says it's 5.
Okay. Oh, does he? Okay,
that's cool.
Good. Yeah.
Jared was really high on this one, and when we were talking about it today, and I was asking which ones I should read first, and that was the first one we were talking about, even before talking about reading these comics. So that's the first one that I prepared myself for. And you said it was almost like a short film, the way that it's presented. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with you, but I do see where you're coming from with it. The thing when I was reading it, because it's batshit insane. I mean, it really is. Like, it just needs to be said. The whole thing is, I was reading it like, all right, little talking motorcycle, and this tank is doing something over here, and then this guy just gets his brains punched out, literally punched out.
Forgot this. It's like the grizzly shark kind of gore.
Yeah, it is unbelievably, but it does have this appealing aesthetic to it that it's very raw, and I appreciate that. It reminds me that the whole thing in general, when I was growing up, and I have a brother, and we're 4 years apart, and there were a lot we just had so many action figures, and not only that, but play sets, and they were pirates, and there was, spacemen. We had the giant G.I. Joe, spaceship. That thing.
Yeah.
And then, we had this, like, weird Lego pirate setup, and then we had Castle Grayskull. And when I'm reading this, I just kept thinking to myself, because I was 4 years older, and he would ask me to create stories for him. So I was 8, he was 4. He's like, tell me a story. And I would have all these action figures and play sets set up with all these random things. Honestly, I think that's where this is going, because it's just so crazy. It feels like it's a young child who just has all their toys around. And they're like, and the pirate comes in with the motorcycle and they fly. Whatever. I'm 4. I don't know. And that's honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that's like the giant reveal at the end of this. It's like, yeah, this was just it's the Twin Peaks ending, where it's just like this is all in a child's imagination, because I don't know how else to explain this fucking shit. It's good. I don't like it as much as you do.
I really like the art style, and because especially some of the landscapes, where like when he's looking over the mount, he's on the hill and he's looking at the towns and stuff. There's like the town he's looking at, and there's like a further one, and it's all kind of like stark. It's I feel like I'm there. Like I can feel how cold it is there. Like it's and like those kind of long wispy trails of smoke coming into the air. Like I can visualize, even though this is so far from being realistic, I can like see and feel the environment that they're in.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Like Siberia to me.
In like or southwestern Pennsylvania, like because that fucking looking out on that, it, like reminds me of being like up in like McConnell's Mills or up in like Seven Springs or wherever the fuck else we go snowboarding, Blue Knob.
Yeah,
and you're up there, and it's just like. And that you're right. As I was reading that, and it doesn't hurt that it's like fucking. It was 35 degrees last night or something. So it was cold as shit. I was like, oh man, like I kind of. It's depressing. It's like and even though it looks like it was done by a child. The art, I dig it, and it also I think it conveys emotion pretty well.
Yeah. Kat, thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with the whole table for different reasons, but I mean, I definitely thought it was super bleak, like the story, the imaging. It was crazy. It was definitely crazy and weird, and I didn't know what to make of a lot of it. And I agree with Becky that the first time I read it through, like before talking to you guys about it, there were way too many unanswered questions for me, and to the point where it was no longer intriguing. It was just overwhelming, and I was done with it. But now, listening to what everyone had to say about it, and especially I did not read the author note, so to speak. So I think having that information made me much more interested in kind of what happens next.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're going to read comic books, reading the author's note is sometimes sheds a whole different light on what you've either just read, or sometimes I think the author's note should be in the front. We read a book. We talked about a book called what was it? What's the one with all the shit in the front we hated?
I don't know. There's a few of them.
DC's been doing that a lot more.
Yeah, sometimes there's too much stuff
too.
preceding the story. Like I actually liked, like in your books, for example, that was just enough stuff. It's like, here's some words that you might need to know, and here's a small map, and that's good. I love when the map is in the beginning, and the genealogy shit's in the back. But like some books, like that author's note would have been great, right?
Yeah, and like the point you were making that said, they really did no service to to the storyline with what they actually, the text they put on the front.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or the blurb, the endorsement they put on the front. Like, it seems very disconnected from the actual
Very much
story.
just nothing more than surface. Yeah.
Yeah, and it actually might serve to hurt the story that you read, because if you said, like, oh, this is going to be like Mad Max, cool, and then you read it and you're like, that wasn't like Mad Max at all.
No.
It's like minus
Trailers
the
that show
tanks.
just the action
Yeah.
bits make you think it's an action movie, and then you watch it and it's not. Or
Right.
Something, or yeah.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah. So our last thing that we do is we all go around the table and we just give it like a thumbs up, thumbs down. Would you continue reading this or not? So, Beck, you want to start? Bex?
I will. I initially had no interest, and now I do.
Yeah. Jer?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Greg?
I have interest.
Yeah. Chris?
I don't.
Yeah.
No.
No,
Yeah.
I definitely will continue. I'll read this to the end, regardless of how I feel about the next two books. I'll read the fourth one for
Yeah.
sure.
I will continue reading. Kat?
I probably won't.
Because of the story, or because you don't really read comic books?
No, I mean, I think because of the story. Like I said,
Okay.
it was, I don't know. I don't need any more bleakness right now.
Yeah, I feel that. I actually piss off. Monkey. Are we going to watch something tonight? I really need a comedy right now, and that's been happening a lot more lately.
Yeah, it's bad timing on it. Sorry.
I will say that if you guys came to me and like you said, okay, you should really start reading this in the second,
Yeah.
I would, yeah.
Okay.
If there was a second recommendation, I would consider it. But for right now, for what it is, I agree, Kat.
That's what these motherfuckers did with me and Grizzly Shark. So
But I think that this, for me anyway, what the author is trying to do, and I don't know if he's going to successfully do it or not. I mean, I agree. This book, what his intention is, and what this first book was, I don't know that he's necessarily hitting the mark right now. But knowing what his intention is, that's why I'm going to continue reading it. I like the art. I thought that I kind of liked everything about it. The quirkiness, the weirdness, it was weird and fun.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that. But I think it's interesting right now because we are a generation that is, I don't think that is as violent as a way of being, or for men anyway. I don't think we're as violent as like the preceding generations, and people might argue the increase in gun violence or something like that. But I'm talking about
Across the board, like.
across the board. Yeah, like I was raised in a working class community where my dad he lives near all of his friends, and like all of them fought. They fought. That was like a way of life, like they fought into their whatever until they got married. That's how you handled shit, is you fought. And so I was raised with the expectation that I would fight too. And so that's how I was raised. But the majority of my friends, like when I tell them, about the stories of like, this was my childhood, this was my adolescence, and then like this was my 20s too. And like I mean I'm 35 now, but like I fought. And like when I experienced like a situation that could have potentially been solved with violence, and I had opted to not be violent, I felt like a punk. It wasn't like I didn't have this sense of like, well, if you can outwit the other person into not, wanting to pursue violence, it was like, no, if you fucking took that route, you were a bitch. Like you were a punk. Like you need to throw down. Like in fairness, like I feel some people still need a punch in the mouth, but
We've already talked about that.
Yeah, I think that's real. Like last time Day was on. Sometimes motherfuckers just need to be hit.
We did all talk about that.
Yeah, and I respected Dave because he was the only one holding it down with me whenever I was saying that, when all you motherfuckers were like, I don't know about that. But I think that this is important to think about and talk about, because I feel like the generation after us too, like the kids, and not kids, the people, the adults who are 5-10 years younger than us, they're even less violent than we were. Right. And so we're going to start having children where this like history of like this is going to be a mythology. It'll turn into like lore. And what does that mean? Is that necessarily a good thing? Like, is it is it a bad thing? Like, to have a fist fight, is that a bad thing? Like if I don't know. Like I'm not sure. Like I know that like
I don't think
I
it's
was
objectively.
scared beforehand, like leading into like violent situations. Like I was afraid. It was never like I wasn't afraid. There's this feeling of there's a lot of feelings you get, and afterwards, there's I don't know. It's not just one dimensional.
Well, I think
there's a lot happening, and I don't know that all of it's bad.
Well, I think that the answer to that depends on like who you are and who you want to be. Like is a fist fight objectively a bad thing? Like no, I mean, it's just like what you kicking someone's ass. Like the universe doesn't give a shit if like I punch anyone in the face, but like there's no. I don't know.
I mean, in fairness, like the universe doesn't give a fuck about anything.
Well,
the universe doesn't give a fuck about genocide.
That's true. That's true.
Like,
but I'm trying to. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Like maybe I'm thinking it out as I'm speaking. If you like, say we were to get in a fight, like
with two other people, because you and I would never.
That's fair enough. Yeah,
we fight two other people.
We fought two other
and
people.
We absolutely win, and it's an unquestionable bout.
I mean, yeah, you're right. But like,
bring no ruckus.
The fight, the result of the fight is really only how we feel about it. Like, it's not, it's you just have to decide how you want to feel about it. Is all.
Yeah, and in my life, there were very clear things that distinguished like. This is when violence is appropriate, and so like this is when you are violent. In
right.
these areas you are not violent, but so it was simple for me to be able to navigate like when it was time to be violent, and who to be violent with. Like those parameters were also established. Like also being violent, any aggression towards women was like. No, that's like the fucking like the worst thing you could do. Worse
right.
than backing down from any fight is engaging in a fight with a woman.
Right.
Like a physical fight. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like, I just don't know. But I know that what he's talking about is something that a lot of us are experiencing. And I talk to, I've spent a decent amount of time in the corporate world, like through my mid-20s and early 30s.
Where violence should be allowed.
Where violence should be allowed. These motherfuckers need to be hit, but then you get like a few drinks in people and they're like, man, I've never been into a fist fight, but I'll tell you what. And they have all these violent ideations or these violent like compulsions, like they want to be physically violent and they never have. And they feel like impotent as a result of that. And they also have a misconception of what it is to be violent. So I don't know. And is that the result of this narrative just kind of like, are we at like the tail end of that?
See, I wish that you had said that earlier because now I know what you're talking about. Like, okay, so the having the idea of what like violence is might be helpful in like just to in everyday life for a lot of people. Like if you've never been in a fight before, like and you get in a fight and say you get beaten down or you're like someone knocks you down, breaks your nose or something, you're gonna be so angry and confused and like upset and like wired on all kinds of adrenaline and stuff. You're like I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like you might lose your shit because you don't know what to do. If you've been knocked down one or two times, what it feels like to knock someone down and be like, are we done? Then it's better to be there. It'd be like never doing a hallucinogen or something or a drug or whatever, and doing like a bunch of it all at once, and then you lose your mind because you've never done it before. You don't know how you're going to react to it. But if you've been in 2 or 3 fights, you're like, you know what? I've been in fights before. Not really interested right now. Not like it's not worth it. You can just go on your way, sir. Thank you. Like not today. Or you can be like, you know what? I've been in a fight before, and I feel like you need to feel the pain of me putting you on the ground.
Right, because what constitutes it? I think that there is this drive towards dominance, right? And the way that men express that is through right now, and maybe
not just men, women express it too in different ways. But
no,
like
but what I'm saying
thing.
Through men is like physicality. Kat, you're
right.
No, so yeah, I mean, I just listening to you talk, I guess it's making more sense to me now, so to speak. The imagery that he uses, I guess he is trying to find that male identity through violence. Like, what is the connection between the soul of man and violence? And then he uses a motorcycle. I mean, how much more typical of a male symbol can you have?
mini
A
one.
tank.
And his is really small.
A
it's
tank,
tiny.
you know,
yeah, like his motorcycle
blood,
is
you know,
big, yeah.
bodies ripped open. So he is using these visual symbols that are very masculine connected. So
Yeah, you know, now that you say that, I didn't think about that either. But you're absolutely right. Like motorcycles, tanks, like these are all, and the tank that blows him away is like a full size actual tank. His
Compared
motorcycle's
to
just this tiny little
big.
thing.
Yeah.
Because he's not I'm not like maybe the motorcycle's somehow connected to him as like him growing up.
Yeah.
Like as he grows, like it's like a pet. The motorcycle grows with him, like a horse even or something.
Also, very significant is that this, at least so far, except for one mentioned, this book is completely devoid of any female characters at all.
Oh yeah,
There's a mention of one
right.
because she had, passed.
Yes.
But no, not one female character.
Oh yeah.
So
I don't know. It's just so fucking so interesting because I was raised with 3 sisters.
Yeah.
You know, for me, and I'll keep talking
my
about myself
sisters
for
beat
another
the
couple
shit
minutes.
out of me, man. I have curling iron burns. I have concussions. We fought like hell, man.
My two older sisters, I've one 4 years older than me, one 2 years older than when I was a kid, like right before I started martial arts, they dressed me up like a woman. I sang gospel tunes all the time. I went around the house singing, dancing, like the whole nine. I wanted to go to performing arts school. You know what I mean? Like I was cool. Like,
I did go to
didn't
performing arts
like-
school, and so did he.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like I wanted to go as a young child. I knew that like I was meant to sing
Yeah.
and perform in front of people and dance, and like part of that like never left me. Right, like as soon as my dad found out, he was like, "You nope, this is not happening."
Man, I saw you dancing at the Halloween party. I know.
Oh, dude, I'll dance. Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, I'll still dance. Shit. I mean, there's some sexy motherfuckers who dance, like some dudes who are, dudes who are now part of what I think
You
of
sound
as
like
the
it's like
archetypal.
Like we're in the 50s, like it's not okay for dudes to dance.
I know.
Billy Elliot.
I did.
It's Billy Elliot.
Yeah.
It also sounds like you were Bugs Bunny until you were like 16. You were dressed as a woman
no.
and you were made to dance.
No, I was young. I was like 6, 7, 4, like from the time, like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know, something like that. And then, like, when my old man saw me,
Teen.
like, dressed up like in my mom's clothes and like high
Yeah.
heels, and, like makeup,
With
like
oranges
singing
in the
gospel
bras,
tunes.
going
I
chick
remember
chicky
if they
boom,
did
chick
that.
chicky boom, chick chicky boom.
But I was just like a doll for my sisters to like dress me up, and I thought that was cool. I was having a good time, and that felt like good. And then I started to be, I don't know, brought into like the more masculine culture at probably around 8, 9 years old. Like this is taken from this like what felt good. Like I have good memories of like spending that time with my sisters, singing and being dressed up and being
I
feeling
have
pretty.
to say, you can definitely get your dick sucked by a guy. I now have come to that conclusion.
No, the problem is, like, had I continued on that trajectory, I might not have, like, such rigidly defined ideas about what it is for me, not for anyone else. Like, my ideas about masculinity are confined to me. Like, I believe that, like, your identity is on such a spectrum that I don't fault anyone for wherever they fall, and I encourage, like, strength in wherever it is that you are, for however you identify yourself. But for me, I have, like, very rigid, or not very, but fairly rigid ideas about what it means to be a man in this world, and I can see that change when I started, like, when I was 8, like, I started, like, stop being dressed up, like by the time I was 11, I'd been in a bunch of fights, like I was not this like kid who like was like feeling free and singing. Like I was a kid who I liked muscle cars. I didn't even know I couldn't fucking drive. You know what I mean? Like I saw these images. I knew what I should like, and I started doing these things. And that was it, but that had a very different feeling. It had, and I still have these memories. Like it was a heavier feeling. It was like, this is what I have to do. Before, it was like, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. And now it's like, no, this is what you have to do. And I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Then I'll do this.
Yeah, and maybe we'll see some of that in this book.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool to see. He really does. He only fights once, and he doesn't.
No, twice.
Twice, kind of. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
twice.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously we've been talking about this for a while. There's a lot here. I think there's a
Yeah,
lot, even in the first issue, to consume and to think about. So, yeah, go on down to Southside Comics. I completely forgot to say anything about that earlier.
We didn't do any shout-outs earlier.
That's true. We didn't do any shout-outs. But yeah, go down
Dagnan
Southside
needs
Comics
to
and
get his bitch ass here, and then he can promote his stuff.
That's true. He's
G-Stan.
Fuck,
Your
I've
wife
seen
had
it
the
so
baby,
long.
not you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
I forget the name of his store. He'll have to come back and tell us later.
Okay. So yeah, Motro, Ulysses Farinas, Eric Freitas. Go check it out. We all think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Next we have Iron Man. Invincible Iron Man #1.
Invincible Iron Man. The title
do
makes
that.
no sense, and the cover makes no sense.
All right, this is what
I
I'm
should've
confused about
did this
because
one.
they've been pitching this for quite a while.
They have been,
about
yeah.
a young African American female protagonist, and this had a different cover that they were pitching for the last 6 months than the one that came out.
Yeah.
And the one that doesn't make sense that we got stuck
Yeah,
with.
exactly. I agree with Jared.
the one that's not the one.
The
that
original one. So the young girl that they based this on they gave her a copy when this finally came out. They based Riri.
Yeah.
Okay. They based it on a young girl. I guess she won some sort of contest. I'm not sure. But she's a gorgeous young girl, and she actually got a copy of that, which is now a variant cover, but it makes a lot more sense.
Right.
Yeah, Jared's right. I'm sorry. I don't
Is it the
like
one they
this
said
cover.
like over sexualized her or something like that?
No, it was just her. She has like curly hair, and she's creating stuff.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's not the original cover. The original cover was because this character's supposed to be. How old is she supposed to be? Like 14 or
14
something?
or 15, yeah.
The original cover apparently, and this is a big deal for a bit. It was almost like the Spider-Woman cover that the variant cover where it's like very sexualized.
Oh, yeah,
But
I remember
apparently
that.
they kind of like made this character like a little bit sexy looking, and everyone was like, "She's 15. What the fuck are you doing?" And so they changed the cover to that other. Yeah. So the original cover they didn't print it, and you can find it online, but
So somebody just like dug through a bin and was like, "What else do we have?"
yeah.
It's just the old Iron Man. He's
Yeah.
not even in the same costume. Okay, it doesn't make sense at all. Just do it.
that bitch is skinny too. Why is he so skinny?
What? On the
He
cover?
is a skinny
It's not-
Iron Man on the front.
I mean,
Wait,
it's
that's not Iron Man on the cover.
It's not.
Whatever.
It's
That's
Ironheart.
Ironheart.
All
But that doesn't
here's
look like she looks
here's
like in the book.
sexualized-
No.
I don't think it's that bad.
It's not. Well,
Let me see
I
it.
don't know.
That's the original one that got shelved.
Well,
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right there. It's not that bad. I mean, it does make her look like she's like 18, 19 as opposed to 14.
She looks much older. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I guess
not
like,
terrible.
but I wouldn't say it was sexualized.
It's not overly sexual, but it makes her look way more mature
Yeah,
than she's supposed to be.
And she's
Yeah,
supposed
I
to be
think.
14, 15, right?
I've
Yeah.
seen 15-year-olds dressed like that.
I have too.
I mean, yeah, but does society?
Damn,
Am
dude,
I-
no,
I'm
that's
sorry?
like I should 18 like at least like
That's what I said, yeah.
she's pretty hot there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
I
there's a
mean,
lot of yeah.
And I think that's the problem.
not.
When
Yeah,
your
that's
first
sort of-
reaction is she's hot towards a 14-year-old
Right,
character.
exactly.
Yeah, don't make me
They
feel
made-
bad by making a 14-year-old. You can draw her out however you want. You need to make her like her boobs so big and her hips so perfectly.
Yeah,
Proportionate
her
to them.
midriff is showing. It's like
I'm sorry.
That's
but
right.
Sicko.
They
When I
could
was
have
in high
done
school-
something else than make her androgynous. 'Cause she's such a powerful character, and this kind of just, I don't know.
Well, we still don't know if that's her in that suit or not.
That's true.
In that suit, the
Looks
one
like
that's on the
Iron
cover.
Man, and she don't
'Cause
look
that's
like
the,
that.
That's the original.
And
That's
her name's
the
not
regular
Iron Man,
suit.
and it's called Iron Man. What the fuck is happening? Well,
You know,
I was really
Jared-
confused when I started reading this.
Me too.
I loved it.
I liked
liked
it
it
a
too.
lot.
I
yeah.
I never say that about any comic. I really like this one. And I'm
too.
going to go over the basics here. All right,
Yeah.
it's the Invincible Iron Man, and it's Riri. It's Riri, right? That's
Yes.
what we're pronouncing this.
Maybe
Riri.
Riri, because like Riri kind of.
I know. I don't know. I said Riri, but I'm not sure.
I'm going with Riri.
We used to say that in the 90s and it wasn't complimentary.
Oh,
No.
yeah, that's right. God. But Riri sounds.
Let me into the bathroom. I have to Riri.
That's even worse.
Greg made it racist.
Jesus Christ.
You can always count on me.
Jesus Christ. Oh man.
Riri. We're going with Riri.
We're going with
Riri.
All right. So,
Continue, Chris, with a straight face, please.
Yes, Riri.
All right, written by Brian Michael Bendis.
Who also created Jessica Jones.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Miles Morales. Black Spider-Man. Sorry.
Cool.
Continue.
No, that's good to know. Stefano Castilli's the artist, color artist, Marte Gracia, and the letterer is VC's Clayton Cowles. So I liked it, and here's why. This character is incredibly relatable. Riri is a very good bounce. Shut up, Dan. I can hear you snickering over there with the Riri's.
Chris, sorry, we would like you to continue.
God damn, Greg.
I'm going to stop. All right, forget it.
God damn it. No, I loved it because they're replacing Iron Man. It's obvious from the get-go, and this little girl who is the next Tony Stark, who is a black female. And here's what I like about this. I know we weren't going to get political with this, and I'm not going to go into the actual, election or politics, but there's a dichotomy in America. There are two sides right now, and this is an important comic, I feel, for showing the side that is really scared. Yeah, there's a fear right now of people that they don't know what's going to happen, and we're not going to talk about it, but those fears are substantial for a certain part of America right now. And I love that this comes out around this time where you can see that there are intelligent people that could do something substantial like this that are considered minorities, whether you're a woman, whether you're black, whether you're Asian, you fucking asshole.
Jesus Christ.
Directed at Greg.
And they do it in not a poetic fashion, not a superfluous fashion. They do it grounded in reality. This person's parents, they struck me as real people that were trying to control even the dialogue when they have the stepdad in the middle there and he's just telling her it's a nice day. It's very basic, but it's very effective. And Riri herself is a great character because you can relate to this person if she was anything else. It's just a very well-written person. It doesn't matter what her skin color is or her, sexuality or her race. But it's cool that they made her a minority in this situation. And this is our next Iron Man, basically.
Right. And it's I agree with you in the political thing where a lot of people were hoping for in the election, hoping for a figurehead for America that would be someone who's not someone who's a woman, first of all, and having more characters like this, more black characters, more female characters, like female Thor, Jane Foster. When kids read them, they can say oh yeah, I'm also a black girl too. She's a direct connection between me and that character.
Yes.
If it's all as it used to be, it's all white guys. There's 50% of all people who can't relate. Then there's however other percentage of people who aren't white can't relate. Whenever you have, we need more of these characters.
We do.
Yeah, you need to be able to see oh yeah, I can relate. I can get right there. I'm already. You got me. That's me right there on the page.
One of the things that struck a chord with me on this, and I had a conversation. It was a conversation. It wasn't anything that was malicious. It didn't get to these Facebook posts that we have now where everybody is just defending vehemently what they believe. But it was between me and my cousin's wife, Katie. And she's a lovely person, and she has really, really strong values. And she posted a TED Talk video about how there are no action figures for women. And I went against it because growing up, I had a lot of action figures. I had Storm, I had Jean Grey, I had Jubilee. That's just off the top of my head, but I had a ton of female action figures, and I was like, this is bullshit. I know that those female action figures are out there. They exist. I had them personally, so I can vouch for this. And we talked about it, and they really don't exist anymore.
We
They don't.
did a show on this.
Yeah.
I actually went and did statistics on this.
Yeah,
Oh, did you?
Becky did
Okay.
this,
It's
yeah.
less than 5% at the best stores.
So I apologize to the audience. I didn't realize that. I wasn't on that show. But she actually, as we talked about it, and I realized now, I was like, shit, like, what is happening with this? And I think this is really a step in the right direction with that, where we need the base comic books to happen here. And it's happening. There's a commercial out there right now. I think it's Campbell's Soup. I'm not sure, but it has Spider-Man, and Spider-Man pulls his mask off at the end. It's just a little girl, and that's awesome
Oh,
that's
I like
happening.
that. I've seen that commercial.
What's that?
The Campbell's Soup commercial?
I think that's what it is, right? Yeah, and that's great, and I fully support that. I think the problem with a lot of this is, speaking as a white middle-aged male, because that's where I come from, and a lot of people don't like my opinion because of that. But we need more of this, but it needs to be substantiated and grounded and natural. A lot of these things that are happening now with popular women figures in sci-fi and fantasy and comic books, it just feels rushed and pushed, like we have to do this. And it feels half-baked when I see a lot of this. With this comic book, it did not. This felt natural, like this is a progression of this character. And I love that. I love that I read through it and I fully support it 100%.
See, the one thing that, I mean, I'm not crazy about the Marvel superheroes as an adult, just reading them in general. The one thing I didn't like about this, I liked what they were, okay, so we have a female main character. We have a young female character that's relatable. We have a black young female character. But then they had to have like a drive-by shooting, like black people are in a park having a cookout, and like black dudes are playing basketball, and then there's a drive-by shooting. Like, come on, guys, what the fuck? Like, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I'm
like,
glad you brought that up.
At every black cookout, there's a fucking drive-by shooting.
Yeah.
Like, what do you
Right.
like? This,
That
I
was
thought that was
kinda-
like shitty,
Yeah.
and like an easy cop out, and not very thoughtful.
Like it could have been, say, like a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
Right,
or
it could have
anything
been
else.
that same
It could have
woman
been these
who's like-
monsters.
Right, the
Yeah.
monsters that the woman is like creating in Wyoming. One of them got loose and like ended up wherever the hell she is, because it looks like from the picture she's in a garage in a seemingly like middle class neighborhood, middle to upper middle class neighborhood, creating things in her garage, and then like she just goes to a barbecue with like her like middle class looking dad and middle class looking mom and like middle class looking people, and there's a drive by shooting because they're black. Like, that's kind of fucking shitty. It's like you're sending a lot of the right messages, but then you're just reinforcing these like narratives that are fictions. They're fictions. Like, I mean, the drive by shootings don't happen all the time. Like,
I mean, they do, but it
do.
doesn't make sense in this. Yeah,
no, they don't happen all the time, though. I mean, like, how many drive-by shootings have been experienced in Pittsburgh in the last,
In Allentown, 5.
in the last year?
Oh yeah,
More than
definitely,
that.
dude. In
Okay,
Wilkinsburg,
okay, well,
It's a huge issue
But if
in
we can,
Wilkinsburg.
but if we can say 5, and then the population of Allentown is X, and then we take a percentage of that, like.
Well,
it's
all right.
just it's not, it's like all the time is like.
I agree with you, and when I first saw this, I was like, okay, maybe this is kind of shitty, and especially because it didn't seem natural based on the narrative constructed for Riri so far.
I mean, I
Right.
do agree with you on this. That felt forced. Like,
That part
how
did
do we
feel
make
forced.
this relatable to the black community?
Well,
Let's put
I mean,
a drive-by in, and
there-
that's like Jesus.
But
Come
there
on, man.
but you got to realize there are kids in Wilkinsburg and Allentown that live this reality.
Yeah, but
Is this-
these characters
but that's
specifically, this
exactly
family does not.
There, and if that was, progressed a little bit more naturally, maybe that would have been, if she had come from that. But she doesn't.
No.
She's in a middle class upper, and that, I completely agree that felt
Yeah,
forced.
I agree with your sentiments, but that is still a reality. There's
I kind of
There are
thought the same.
drive-bys, and like also 75% of women experience like sexual assault at some point in their life. Like, do we like if you're trying to create like some character for like women to be like, okay, like I want to be uplifted to this point, or I want to use this to like let me see something that is a potential for me.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't need to be reminded like, well, remember, you're a woman, so
Yeah.
there's a greater chance than not that you're going to experience sexual violence. Oh, and you're a minority. Don't forget the job market's going to be a little tougher for you. Oh, and you're a girl. Oh, yeah, well, you're going to make about 47% as much as your male counterpart. You don't need to be reminded of all of that. Like, you know, and having a fucking suit that can fly you to fucking Wyoming from wherever the fuck you are to fight some fucking monsters that are created some fucking woman's mind, that's not reality either. So, like, I don't think we need to inject as much reality as, like, you know,
Well,
God, you know,
okay,
drive-by
let's
shootings.
just say this. All right. And, yeah, I agree with you. But it could be something a lot more natural that everybody experiences. It doesn't have to be something that is specific to a particular community, whether it be women or African Americans. It could be something like, you know, my stepfather died of cancer. Okay, cancer doesn't discriminate. It's going to kill everybody. So it could be something like that. It could be something like, I mean, kind of off topic, but like the movie Up does a great natural, in the first 5 minutes of it, shows like what it's like to be human, and everybody cries in the fucking first 10 minutes of Up. I don't care
Absolutely,
who you are.
it's its own perfect movie.
The, just to, like taking a step back from that, like looking at this Iron Man comic, the or Invisible Iron Man story, primary, first thing, secondary benefit. Like if somebody can relate to the character because they're, you know, minority and all that stuff, cool. Side benefit, nice. And then, but like having the drive in there like belies that possible side benefit, and like, you could have had that too, but well, that's like kind of called into question. That's kind of like what I'm getting from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think this is.
Yeah, we have a time limit on this episode actually, so we'll just call it right here because I mean I think we have Jared's good time.
Yeah, this is gonna be a two-parter.
Okay,
For sure. It's over 2 hours.
all right. So I think we'll just stop right here. So I'd like to thank Kat once again for coming.
Thanks for
through.
having me.
Thanks,
This
Kat.
was awesome. It was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
thanks for coming.
You guys are my type of people. I love the conversations.
Well, feel free to come back whenever you want. You know.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So you can tell us one more time where you can find all your stuff.
Cat Bruno, CatBruno. I'm on Amazon. You can just Google that. Queen of Stars and Shadows is the third book. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. CatBruno.com is my website. Wattpad for readers out there. It's a free app. I upload short stories to there. So check me out on there. And Goodreads, too. I'm not too active on Goodreads, but I'm there as well.
All right.
Sweet.
We are Grown-Up Human Comic People. Again, you can find us at grownuphumans.com, epicastnetwork.com/grownuphumans, iTunes, Stitcher, Facebook, YouTube, Grown-Up Human Comic People, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram at grownuphumans, Reddit, our subreddit is GHCP. Go to southsidecomics.com, tell Dan to get his ass back in the podcast.
He'll be here next
And
time.
that's about it. Go one more time from everybody. Say goodbye, Beck,
Bye.
Jared,
See ya.
Greg,
All right. See you later.
Chris,
Goodbye.
Dan,
Count your
Yo.
pancakes.
Kat.
Thanks for having me. Goodbye.
I'm Jared, and that was our show. Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Grown-up human comic people! Grown-up human comic people!
Epicast.